Hi, this is Lucia with The Art of Love. This week I would like to talk about remaining friends with an ex. And even though the email I'm about to read is written from a guy, everyone needs to hear this, guys and girls, so listen up. My girlfriend and I were with each other for 5 years. We've been broken up for about 6 months, but we haven't really stopped talking the entire time. We've seen each other and been intimate with each other, but it's always on her terms. So are you sure that you're broken up? I mean, you're still seeing each other, you're still talking to each other. It sounds like a relationship, except that it's now on her terms since she broke up with you and you agreed to stick around. I really don't like the way this is going for me because I love her and I want to be with her, but she comes and goes in and out of my life. That's what happens when you remain friends with an ex. They get to call the shots. You're now in the underdog position and you put yourself there by agreeing to be friends, even though you wanted more. She doesn't give me the attention that I want, and she doesn't want to get into a relationship with me. She wants to have her cake and eat it too. She's going to come and go as she pleases because you agreed to that little arrangement. I've gone to therapy, resolved a lot of the issues that I had, and I feel like a new man. That's good, but I still want her back. Yes, I've been pursuing her the whole time, but now I know that was a mistake. Okay, good. Glad you know that. What exactly can I do? It's really painful because she sees me only on her terms. She responds to my messages when she feels like it, if she even responds. I don't feel comfortable with this situation anymore. I do love her, and I would love to be with her in a serious, committed relationship, but I'm starting to feel like this is a big game to her. Please give me some advice. This has been eating at me for a long time. She's got all the power, and that's the problem with remaining friends with an ex when you are still in love with them, when you still want a relationship with them. If you had said, I really don't care about her anymore, but she's a cool girl, I want to hang out, the sex is great, well, you probably wouldn't be writing to me then, so it really wouldn't matter. But unless you are totally 100% over your ex, you cannot be friends because this is what happens. One person has all the power and the other person is miserable. Now, interestingly enough, I happened to do a search, and just a few days ago, a study was published regarding the personalities of people who stay friends with their exes. And this is referring to when they break up with someone. So when someone breaks up with you and they still want to stay friends with you, what it says about them is not very flattering. So I'm going to read from one of the articles regarding the study, and it says, the study revealed how people with a tendency towards narcissism, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism, I finally got to use that word in a podcast, maintained friendships with their ex often for their own gain. Sound familiar? For example, if an ex-partner is perceived as being reliable and trustworthy, then they're seen as a useful asset. Of course, if you got someone reliable and trustworthy, why would you get rid of them, even though you don't want to be in a relationship with them? Continuing on, the study says, unsurprisingly, sexual access also ranked highly, especially among men. That's no surprise there. So, if you want to find out more about the study, you can just Google staying friends with your exes says something about your personality, and it will have a link to more information. So as you can see, the tendencies they're talking about, she's displaying the narcissism and definitely the Machiavellianism because she's manipulating you. And the thing is, the fact that you're staying there is not an alpha move. And 90% of the time, when men have issues with women, it's because they're not being alpha. Now, I don't know what the cause of the breakup was, but the fact that you're putting up with this for 6 months leads me to conclude that most likely part of the reason, if not the entire reason she broke up with you was because you were not being an alpha male. And women do not stay with alpha males or men who are not behaving as alpha males. So maybe you were for many years because you were together for 5 years and then something happened and she didn't want to be with you anymore. An alpha male would say, this is not for me. I'm not going to put up with this. Much as a high value woman would also do the same thing. She's not going to stay with a guy who just broke up with her and continue to have sex with him in the hopes that he will want to get back together, because that's not a very high value quality for a woman. I mean, basically, you're now an option instead of the priority. So if you're in love with someone and you've been with them for so long, you can't just go from being at the top of their list to being near the bottom or maybe near the middle. And also, to put it bluntly, you are now her bitch. As you said, everything's on her terms. So she says jump and you say how high, because you know that she's not consistent. She comes and goes. So whenever you hear from her, of course you're going to jump, because like, oh, all right, she texted me. Oh, she wants to see me. All right, maybe this is my chance. Maybe we're finally going to get back together. Obviously, it hasn't happened in 6 months, and it's probably not going to happen if you continue to see her. So what you have to do is you have to tell her, either on the phone, in person, or you know what, you can even text it, and just say, I don't want to be friends or friends with benefits anymore. I want to go back to being boyfriend, girlfriend. So if you change your mind, let me know. Until then, I'm moving on. You're free to use those exact words. And that's it. Don't argue after that. Don't try to convince her. Don't get into a whole long discussion. Now things have to be on your terms. So you're either in a relationship with her or you're not in her life at all. And now it's up to her to make a decision. And that's the only way to turn the tables on this situation. But I do have to warn you, do not do this unless you absolutely know 100% that you can keep your promise, that you can stay away from her unless she agrees to going back to being with you in a committed relationship. Because if you do go back with her and you're not in a committed relationship, she will lose even more respect for you, because she already doesn't respect you, and that's why she's treating you like this. She will lose even more respect for you, and it will be 10 times harder to get her back, because women cannot be attracted to men they don't respect. They just can't. That's just the way we're built. There's just something inside of us that does not permit us to be attracted to men that we don't respect, no matter how attracted we may be to them otherwise. So I hope this clears up the situation. If you are in a similar situation and you have any questions or comments, or you would like private coaching for your situation, you can reach me at theartoflove.net. If you're listening to this on iTunes, please be sure to leave a review and to rate it. And in the meantime, remember that love inspires, empowers, uplifts, and enlightens.